Well guys, there we have it. Season 3 is just days away from being done, and in general, the past few weeks have really continued to show Battlefield's strengths, weaknesses, and priorities when it comes to their live service and how those priorities expose issues within the studios. Season 3 has been denser with a faster content pacing than prior seasons, and because of it has suffered dearly at the hands of the developers' inability to make Frostbite a totally sound game engine. While the maps, modes, and gameplay offerings have flourished due to the team's new focus on more content more often, like I've said since day one, this faster pace can be felt just as much on the other side, where players are being met with game-breaking bugs, content being removed, and a free-to-play battle royale that might be doing more harm than good. Season 3 exposes why Battlefield releases with such little content, and why the devs are so skittish to put their foot on the gas. Ultimately, one step forward always risks 2 steps back. Add a ranked battle royale, break the entire lighting system. Add new maps at a faster rate, break StrikePoint into an unrepairable state. Add new weapons, meanwhile you can't remember how double XP works. And not to mention the bugs and exploits that have been here since release, like not being able to spawn in RedSec, rubber banding through walls, and horrendous server ping. Whoa. Season 3 has shown that while the content is getting better, Battlefield Studios with the Frostbite engine simply can't put all the pieces together. There will always be issues, there will always be bugs, missing features, and FOMO content, which is perfect, because that way patch notes and promising missing features becomes part of the roadmap itself, and it's a shame. After 20 years of Battlefield and well over a decade of Frostbite, now with more money and resources than ever, the experience is at one of its lowest points. It's 2026. A bog-standard battle royale with solos should not be this hard. You have 4 AAA studios, you should be able to deliver more content than your 15-year-old predecessor did with Battlefield 3 Premium. And your live service needs to feel alive, especially with RedSec. While other services hype up storylines, characters, events, collabs, and exciting new content, Battlefield hypes up patch notes. And that's not to say the content in Season 3 is bad. In fact, between the maps, weapon attachments, and new modes, I've quite enjoyed the content delivered this season. But in Battlefield fashion, it's been overshadowed by patch notes, bugs, and missing features. But guys, before we continue this rant, if you enjoy in-depth reviews and discussions about all things Battlefield and FPS, drop a like and hit subscribe, and let's review Season 3. I feel like at this point, Battlefield is just barely held together, thus why I was skeptical about the recent gunplay changes. The fact that we get this big rollout, epic new content like Golmud, and somehow shit at the other end of the game just explodes, makes me worry about the game's future, because it seems like the team is constantly in a state of fighting fires instead of moving the experience forward. Like, I still don't understand what happened to StrikePoint, or why shit like this still happens in Battle Royale.
Oh shit, I think he's glitched out to the point where we win.
Don't leave the match, it might give us the dub.
Oh no.
We're like 9 months into this game, hundreds of millions of dollars invested, tens of millions of copies sold, and years of supposed game testing with Battlefield Labs. But everyone, the devs included, are just always caught off guard by new issues, like the whole double XP scandal, where they can't even tell us how they're intended to work. But like I've said, this doesn't seem to faze EA, as the game's live service has become more about patch notes and restoring missing features instead of creating meaningful content. Thus, the server browser is not part of a roadmap, and I'm sure the return of Battle Royale solos and StrikePoint will be made out to be some sort of huge addition on DICE's part, when, in fact, they're simply restoring missing content. I totally believe while Battlefield needed to push harder on more content for their roadmap, the real reason players fell off was because of how frustrating the experience, especially near the start of the game, was. Like your average battle dad getting on a few hours a week after work probably doesn't care if content is slow, he's barely keeping up as is. But when the game crashes, he black screens in RedSec and gets killed around walls, that's where the experience becomes unenjoyable. Limited content is one thing, but broken content is a whole other. And when you put out free-to-play products like RedSec, inviting players to come try the game, no strings attached, you need to put your best foot forward. And RedSec is the absolute opposite of that. The amount of bullshit I experience, especially in ranked, let's just say there's reasons RedSec Elite isn't returning, and the devs know it. The mode is absolutely busted. Insane server ping, black screens, the lighting bugs earlier on, and sometimes the inability to even spawn in.
Did that not work, Toasty? Did it?
About to find out.
Oh man, it didn't fucking work.
No, my screen's black.
Nope.
Battlefield puts its worst foot forward with players all the time, and I harp on RedSec as it's supposed to be the invitation into the game for new players. But guess what? When something is free and it sucks, the consumer has zero risk when walking away. They tried it for free, had a bad experience, and uninstalled. No harm, no foul. And sadly, the base game is far better. Thus, we see DICE pushing free weekends and sort of pulling away from the RedSec experience, which, outside of ranked, feels less and less supported every day. Even after devs congratulated themselves after 4 years of work on the mode, we still don't get updates like loot pool rotation, or in-game events or POI changes. But even outside of RedSec, the base game, while miles better, still has endless issues the devs simply seem unable to fix. While the recent gunplay changes are great in my eyes, as they add a higher skill gap and more consistency, the devs are still in a game of technical whack-a-mole. And again, it's a shame. Railway to Golmud is genuinely great for traditional fans. DICE finally delivered a huge classic all-out war experience like fans have been requesting. Tactical Obliteration is a great squad-focused mode and something I'd like to be considered for ranked. And like I said, the gunplay updates are the real story of the season. Consistent recoil makes gunplay a lot more reliable, limb hitboxes can slow down TTK as they help reduce damage from inaccurate shots, and reducing sweet spots and increasing bullet drag has done wonders to nerf snipers. Season 3 has been a weird season. In some places like gunplay and content, the game has soared. In others like stability and bugs, the game is at an all-time low. When it's working, especially in multiplayer, the game can really have its moments. But a few minutes later, one bug or one bad attempt to play RedSec could see your game crash or you get stuck in an infinite loading screen. Golmud and Bazaar, the new weapons, especially the M16, and new modes like Obliteration are all welcome additions, and while some are better than others, the content and pacing of Season 3 has been a huge step forward, even with small things like the contract system being a feature I really hope sticks around for use in other areas. But at the end of the day, especially as we gear up for Season 4 and naval combat, this is the first time the game has started to feel like Battlefield. While I really enjoyed some of Season 2's mechanics, like night vision, even up until then, the game was certainly reaching for a more infantry-focused audience. But with Golmud, the return of classic content like the M16, and naval warfare on the horizon, it's starting to feel like a more classic Battlefield experience, taking a lot more cues from things like BF4. Now, with the past few seasons, I may have said that they were good building blocks, and showed the devs were building the foundation. I can't say that here, and I recommend you call out any devs who say that on Twitter. The game at this point has made billions in revenue, had 4 world-class studios working on it for over 4 years, as they tout their amazing player feedback system, and here we are, 9 months in with game-breaking bugs, missing core features like the server browser, and a free-to-play experience that's likely doing more harm than good with casual players. So in summary, I'll put it like this. Season 3 is actually great. Golmud is most likely the best map for the game for most traditional fans. Cairo Bazaar has its issues, but is a welcome addition that could work with some tweaks. The M16 is phenomenal, and well, the PP19 is kinda just there in my opinion. Obliteration is nice to see return, and tactical obliteration in particular is something I want to see expanded and considered for ranked. In general, I'm happy with the new gunplay changes as they add more risk and reward for accurate shots while making weapon behavior more consistent and nerfing snipers. And finally, in theory, I enjoy ranked. But like I said in my full impressions here, the rank system is a poorly designed rating system that does a terrible job of understanding what makes a player good at Battlefield. With that being said, the rewards, ranking system, and concept are certainly things I want to see stick around and expand to modes like StrikePoint or tactical obliteration. As for the smaller stuff, I'm very happy to see new weapon attachments being sprinkled in to continue shaking up gun crafting. And the new contract system absolutely should stick around as a new avenue to earn additional rewards. Also, as my final note before I wrap up, I'm really over the battle passes. Like, the content they provide is a lot better than where we started in Season 1, but as someone who's chasing things like gold mastery camos, master rank rewards, and endurance challenges, the battle passes just don't offer me anything meaningful for my time or skill as a committed player. I'd much rather see challenges get expanded, new mastery rewards get added, and contracts become a new avenue to grind. So all in all, Season 3 added some good content, hinted at some exciting new possibilities, and finally solidified gunplay in a good enough place the devs can focus their efforts elsewhere. So in general, I think Season 3 is actually pretty good. It's in fact the game around it that's going to hell. Aside from reworking the ranking system and expanding new game modes to more maps, Season 3 went off without a hitch. However, the base RedSec experience absolutely imploded, the cornerstone of small modes with StrikePoint is still missing, and the game overall is just not in a great technical state, with even the devs themselves going back and forth on Twitter about things like how double XP are supposed to work. At this point, 9 months in, and knowing how many resources have gone into this game, I really don't see it ever becoming a stable experience. And because of that, new players will fall off with frustration, and competitive players will jump ship, as Call of Duty will almost certainly blow the doors off Battlefield right before GTA sucks all the air out of the room. Battlefield doesn't have the technical ability to compete in the world of live service. They're too slow, too buggy, and too hampered by technical debt from a game engine the devs have been fighting for nearly 20 years. However, while I'm excited for Season 4, I think it's time we once again admit the reality Battlefield will never be able to compete in the world of live service as long as this management and this game engine are in place. We've seen this story time and time before, and Battlefield 6 is trying its absolute best to brute force its way to success, but it's continuing to stumble 9 months after release, no matter how great the new content is. But guys, let me know in the comments below how you're feeling about Season 3. And for everything else Battlefield, drop a like and hit subscribe. And as always, thank you guys for watching.